I'd like to give everyone the protection they deserve.
Can I ask you that question? What is the benefit that the National Assembly is benefiting from?
In an attempt to deflect accountability for their conduct in office. Such mendacity, as was witnessed in the public hearing, will not be tolerated from anybody, no matter how highly placed.
Oversight function is essentially valuable in ensuring that the intent of the legislature in legislating laws that will improve the standard of living of the poor is reflected in the performance of the executive functions. As important as its role is in government, it must endeavor to conduct its oversight functions within the confines of the law that established the National Assembly. Since Nigeria's return to democratic rule in 1999, legislative probes have become a common activity in the country, having the tendency to go from interesting,
I think I must correct myself,
to intriguing,
Answer the question direct.
arguably embarrassing, to highly dramatic.
If you have me, I have 10 times.
I won.
I'm a Lagos boy.
Most often, the probes turn into gatherings for throwing of insults back and forth.
Mr. Chairman, I'm only trying to guide you. You can't guide me.
But the fact remains that those in position of authority must be held accountable to the people.
I don't know whether your mind is still in this custom or you have gone back to Jos.
And that was the case at an interactive session between the Senate Committee on Customs and the management of the Nigerian Customs Service, when Senator Fadaunsi had to set the record straight, expressing his displeasure with top custom officials for trying to bend the rules.
I expect a trained enforcement man to bring a complete report. It is on the basis of on what basis is ACG headquarters and his group here are valuing your goods and they are putting up for sale. The discussions on this should be suspended until you comply. Meaning the type of goods, and you have not told us since all this thing you made 28,844 seizure without is it abandoned? Are they really abandoned or they have defendants? How many cases do you win in the court? I'm talking to you, Controller Dinka.
Sir,
Controller Emeritus.
we have on our Vinca tips.
It's wrong. Every detail we want to know about this thing. Am I not the one trained you? You just came here to deceive us.
We have all these details
You
on
want
our
to transfer
fingertips.
to police, you want to transfer to NTLA, you want to transfer to NAFDA. We want to know the value of what we have lost.
Representative of the CG.
We submitted, sir.
We want to know all this issue, and this is the sales you make within the period, and where you paid it because it is not reflected in your IGR here, in your budget. So we want to know the amount you paid to the bank, what was saved, what was transferred to the treasury. Then if there is allocation to IDP, they will want to know the location. This is IDP in Maduguri. This is what you sent to them. IDP in Lagos and all the rest is specified so that anybody looking at it will know exactly what you seize, what you dispose of, the balance. Then in the monthly value of it, we want to know. So detail all this one and say to us. We will call again the next 2. We give you how many weeks? We give you to do that. 2 weeks.
When a minister doesn't like your face, or a chief executive doesn't like your face, he will just use his own power.
It's another day and yet another matter before the House of Representatives. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, is being accused of abuse of office, amongst other issues.
There is a need for this House to look at appointment of board chairmen it says the president shall appoint. But in practice, Mr. Speaker, the ministers nominate the board chairman. And if they not have the control of that board chairman, the Honorable Minister of Labour has abused his office. And if I were the president, I would get him removed immediately based on facts. The NSITF that we are talking about, they submitted the budget of NSITF to him. He single-handedly altered all the budgets, altered the figures. And when the men and women at that agency protested, he threatened to remove them.
In line with the prayer of the motion, the House set up an ad hoc committee to carry out an investigation.
I state your name, please. Senator Chris Ngige.
At the commencement of the investigative hearing, Mr. Ngige starts by demanding that his accuser, James Faleke, from Lagos State, recuse himself from the investigative hearing. He says the allegations made by the lawmaker maligned his person.
My colleague and brother in the National Assembly, Honorable Faleke, did not speak onto that motion in the way of parliamentary processes. Privileges were abused because accusations were hurled on me. I was judged. My wife was judged.
But James Faleke thinks otherwise.
Before now, you are on this side of the aisle. Today, you are on the other side of the aisle. And let me also say, Honorable Minister, if you say I made judgments before, using my privilege, Mr. Minister, you also use your privilege as a minister to adjudge the suspended members of NSITF as being guilty.
Unlike the NDDC probe, this meeting was not without drama.
Who are like my junior brothers, except Faleke, they say he's up to 60, I don't know. So you are near my age, but I'm at least 7 years older than you, I'm sure. I'm the same age with your mentor in Lagos, Asiwaju. And I was governor with him at the same time. He was a senator, I was a senator. I'm a two-time minister, he isn't a two-time minister.
But he won all his elections very well.
No problem about that. Just like you won their own in Kogi State very well. Yes. And you are now the deputy governor and governor of Kogi State.
Mr. Minister, please respond.
I'm responding, my friend. If you have me, I have you 10 times.
I won.
I'm a Lagos boy. I'm a Lagos boy. You are just a small boy in Lagos. Look at this boy. Mushim boy is talking to a VI boy. I live in Victoria Island. Look at Mushi boy from Kogio. You are Oborobo. Just go. I don't get time for you. Kilo share.
Honourable Minister, in your opening speech, I don't know if I'm too fast. In your opening speech, Honourable Minister, you said that because of the past activities of NSITF, you wrote the names of those you think should be members of the new management based on your vision for the agency. But of course, when the approvals came, some of those names were not there, except of course the chairman. Will you say that your anger with them, with this management, is because your nominees were never taken from day one? My friend had asked some questions regarding employment opportunity. Will you say, Honorable Minister, as the Minister of Labour and Employment, saddled with the responsibilities of abdicating and administering justice amongst employers and employees, will you say you have been fair to other sectors of this country where employments of people by NSITF is mainly from Anambra. And when I took a look, a cursory look, our minister, at the nominal roll, I saw about 5 Ngigis. I don't know whether it is a family name or it's a community name.
The minister insists he got President Muhammadu Buhari's approval to sack the board and management of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, accusing it of awarding 322 contracts worth 3.5 billion naira in one day.
Normally, parastatals defend their budget before their ministries and move. That 2019 budget was a budget that they won gold when we went for elections. You know, we started campaigns in 2018 into 2019. The budget even took time to come. So, in that budget, they had all sorts of things. Construction of buildings, regional headquarters, construction of this in Bauchi, in Ibadan. Ibadan has a building. In fact, Ibadan has one big building and one small one. They went and knocked one down. They want to build a new one. They want an award contract. The act is there. The president appoints. He who appoints disciplines can also remove as part of discipline. The act didn't say the president cannot remove. As the act did not say the president cannot remove, it actually says he can remove. It's there in the act. Go and read the act. No, don't take a portion. Yes, I'll give you back. Don't misinform the House, please. Please, you're a lawmaker. Don't misinform the House. It's wrong.
The president can remove based on a procedure.
No, without any reason. Suo moto. Without hearing from you. Yes. The president of Nigeria is a very powerful president, the most powerful in Africa.
You took advantage of that. Mr. Honorable Minister, you took advantage.
Go and amend the act.
Honorable Minister, you took advantage of that.
Faleke. Amend the act.
No, I'm asking you, you took advantage of this.
Amend the act.
You took advantage by asking him to
all
do that.
The acts of parastatals, they have it.
It is submitted that the directive of Mr. President is still in the spirit of fair hearing, wherein it clearly provided that the matter be fully investigated and every allegation against the management team be established before a final determination of the case against them.
This is another sitting in continuation of the House Committee on Treaties, Protocol, and Agreements review of bilateral loan agreements and commercial agreements between ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government. As the session opens, the committee chairman reacts to insinuations that the probe was being politicized.
The loan agreement we have seen so far shows that government officials charged with responsibility of representing Nigeria in these issues were more desperate to just take the loan at any condition.
The evidence I shall give before this committee.
Then the fireworks begin as the Director General, Debt Management Office, is put under oath for her testimony.
Can you provide us with evidence and records of Nigerian commercial firms and companies currently being engaged and providing services of this project?
It's important, I tell you, sir, that contract was signed as a prelude to a loan, and there is no loan. And we may not get the loan because of you, Mr. Chairman. Because of the committee you've set up against the China loan, South-South, that contract is from Lagos to Calabar, which is the whole of the South-South. Mr. Chairman, we may not get that loan, so there's no contract.
The committee chairman throws a number of questions, one of which relates to an alleged discovery of some commercial contracts totaling $33 billion, said to be without clear-cut financing agreements. The minister denies knowledge of such contracts, but not without reacting to the chairman's opening speech.
Slight response to your speech is that I will repeat here that we need to be more patriotic than we have been.
Attempts by other lawmakers to intervene were rebuffed, and words got to the speaker, who hurried into the meeting.
Sorry, what's going on? Let me see that. speak or sit here. That's what I'm saying. Let's speak or sit here. Come on. Come on. Come on, you can sit here. Gentlemen, please, can we just take a break for about 10 to 15 minutes, please?
The meeting is put on hold for some minutes as the lawmakers excuse themselves. In less than 30 minutes, the meeting reconvenes and the chairman's tone softens.
Can you appear tomorrow to claim most of those documents? I don't have a choice.
The session ends for the day, but like other probes, the issues may linger a bit longer. The investigative power of the legislature has attracted some degree of criticisms against its apparent abuse since the inception of the 1999 democratic dispensation. Legislative investigations are seen as a sure way of enriching the legislators involved in the exercise, earning them political relevance as they seem to assume demigod positions to the public officers being investigated.
Parliament in Nigeria, the National Assembly specifically, more often than not, they seem to embark on investigation for insatiable purposes. There have been allegations by members of the executive that they are being asked to pay money to committees, that they are being harassed by members of ad hoc committees of the Senate and the House of Representatives. You are even aware of the recent one where Senator Akpabio, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, made a series of allegations against the chairman of the Senate Committee on NDDC and his counterpart in the House of Reps. You have also seen several other examples, really, like the case of Mr. Keyamo, the Minister of State for Labour, who also accused members of the National Assembly of seeking to make inputs to nominate persons into the recruitment committees that of the employment project that the government has, initiated. There have also been allegations like the one that Aruma Ete made, who accused the ad hoc committee, the oversight committee, of seeking to extort her of bribery and allegations of corruption against members of the National Assembly. This has been an ongoing thing. You are also aware of the case of Farouk Lawan, who was caught on camera, allegedly, receiving kickbacks. So this has been the problem. When they claim they are doing investigation, it appears that in many instances, they are trying to, in the guise of investigation, extort agencies of the executive and persons who are subject of that investigation.
Normally, when such things are called, people try to undermine the integrity of the committees or the National Assembly so that they are not found. Let it look at what happened in the House of Representatives when a minister made allegations. When he was threatened with litigation, he started denying, I never said that, that's not what I said. So it's an example of what will happen when you try to uncover wrongdoings. People try to delegitimize the whole proceedings by counter-accusing you of doing something bad. If there are any allegations against the National Assembly, member, they should be made in real and concrete terms, not this general thing when you are giving a lecture, you make that kind of thing, it doesn't help anybody. If indeed you have any concrete reasons for complaining about any act from members of the National Assembly, well, it should be done so that we'll weed out the bad eggs. But a situation where somebody like Jega will go to give a lecture and begin to throw allegations in all directions, that can be easily done to anybody. It can be done about the judiciary, the executive arm of government, and it helps nobody. I want concrete allegations so that they will be resolved.
Corruption goes a long way in destroying economies, and this is what the legislature is tasked with preventing.
How will you feel hearing the billions of naira that have been spent under 6 or 7 months by the NDDC, and you go to the Niger Delta region and you see the plight of the people living in pain, sorrow, underdevelopment, no provision of roads, no good road network, no potable water, the education is bad, and you see somebody sitting down and said he approved palliative for himself, running into millions of naira. Let me give you an example. To construct a classroom, averagely by UBEC, is like 15 million naira, even in the texture of Niger Delta. So if somebody just say he embezzled 100 million naira, imagine the number of schools that will have constructed. Look at the kilometer of road. Imagine the kilometer of road that will have been constructed with that kind of money. So a lot of things, when people die because of lack of adequate water, due to diseases, pipeline water. So life can be saved if we curb corruption. Education, which is the bane of development of any nation, can be improved if you curb corruption.
On the other hand, there are concerns that the legislative arm of government cannot fully fight corruption.
You see, there is this issue of the legislative arm sounding more like a dog that can bark but cannot bite, because at the end of the day, they make recommendations to the executive. Once the executive are acting in default of the position of the Constitution and in the exercise of their oversight function, the legislative arm gives a recommendation. Like when they say stop that project, no, they can do a recommendation to the president. The president have a choice whether to take it or not. But you see, if you have a committee or a team, the team can go to court and say, this thing you are doing is wrong. And you must be very, very sure it's wrong before going to court. So the lawyers could be held responsible for it. Don't just go to court just to be seen to be going to court. You must go to court when you are very, very sure that you have a good case. You understand? So that you can go to court and get a declaration that so act on the part of any minister or parastatal law within the executive is wrong and is unconstitutional.
The probes in recent months continue to elicit reactions from Nigerians, especially those in the Niger Delta region and parts of the country where development is a mirage.
What we are saying is that even when people have been found wanting, behind the scene, you see monies exchanging hands and the matter die a natural death. And it's quite sad that that is happening. So it has become, the NDDC has become a cash cow for politicians. Anybody who is privileged to be in the board or who is privileged to oversight the board, they are going there with one mindset that the NDDC has, an elephant budget, and everybody is just going there to cut from that cake at the expense of the development of the region.
The forensic audit of the Niger Delta should be given to an independent auditor to handle. No politician should be involved, and that report must go straight to the presidency for it to adjudicate on the next line of action. Not even that Attorney General should be involved, but it should be going from the report can go through the Attorney General's office before it goes straight to the presidency.
Every now and then you keep hearing billions upon billions. Since NDDC was set up, nothing has happened. So the probe, it's in order. Unfortunately, the National Assembly is just waking up to its responsibility. It has not done enough oversighting.
The principle behind the oversight function of the legislature is to ensure that public policy is administered in accordance with the legislative intent. The hope of Nigerians now is that all arms of government play their role and give Nigerians the government that they deserve.